Like many countries in the West, including Britain, Africa is not saddled with debt. The British debt is 87% of the British GDP, while the African debt is only 9% of their GDP. All but 2 countries in Africa could pay off their debt within 1 year. So the potential is already there, and the growth is already beginning. Even now, Africa is the continent in the world with the fastest economic growth. The GDP per capita of sub-Saharan Africa is expected to rise by 800% from 2020 to 2050. Anyone who doubts that Africa can make quick economic progress like this should look at the economic history of the US. In 1977, the US economy was the same size as the African economy is today. And since then, the American economy has grown by a massive $18.419 trillion. And with Africa having more natural resources than the US, its progress in the next 40 years could be even more spectacular. So if you are someone here today who thinks that Africa will never catch up with the rest of the world, I want to say that you will be proved wrong. With its mammoth population, massive potential, and amazing stores of resources, within your lifetime, Africa will become an economic superpower. Thank you.
Oh, I literally had goosebumps listening to this, in a heavy heart at the same time listening to this. If you're from Africa, you already know. You really know where are all the goals coming from that other parts of the world are enjoying from this. Where are all the natural resources coming from that other parts of the world are living off of? Make it make sense. All we hear every time is how poor Africa is. That's the only thing when they talk about Africa. That's the only thing that people know of. That's the only way they identify as the poorest country in the world. Are we really the poorest country in the world? Is that really true? Like, is that really, really true? These are some things that people don't want to say, okay, but me personally, okay, leadership plays like a great role when it comes to like our economy, when it comes to like our country. If you want to accept, you accept. You don't want to accept, that's your problem. Imagine a country where, okay, let me take it back. Growing up, okay, while in college, I could not afford a car. I could not afford a car, period, okay, because I needed cash. I needed to put cash down before I can get the car. In college or university, I don't have that kind of money to go buy a car, cash. Other part of the world, you get a loan to get a car. I'm rich from the inside, okay? I'm debt free. I'm debt free. I don't have a car. I manage with like the little resources that I have around me. I'm rich from the inside. You have to worry about paying these loans every month. I don't have a phone. Cool. I don't need to go get a loan and be doing monthly payments. I'm rich from the inside. I live in a house that's like, let's say for example, your parents sweat. Their hard-earned money. I don't pay no mortgage. I'm rich from the inside. You live in other parts of the world where you have to pay mortgage for 30 years of your life. Say for example, you have a house when you're like in your 30s, okay? And you have to pay for that house for 30 years. That's 60 years. That's your whole entire life. I'm living in a house where the only time I had to pay rent was when I had to like move away from my parents' house to go to college. That's the only time I worry about paying rent every month. I'm rich from the inside. So how are we the poorest country? How come we pronounce like, I'm trying to do this video without like stepping on some toes, but at the same time just speak the truth. How on earth are we considered so poor, so broke? People gonna ask you, okay, if you're not poor, why do you have to keep migrating to other part of the countries? Mm? Mm? Leave us alone. Mm? If you stop exploiting us, leave our goals alone, leave our natural resources alone, then maybe we'll stop moving, we'll stop migrating for a better life. I'm just saying. I don't want to go too deep about this video because it might